Welcome back to Menzoid Mornings, and now time to take a look at what's making news around some of our favorite blog sites, folks. Let's take a look at theblaze.com. New Yorkers stunned as plane flies swastika banner over New York City's beaches. Yes, folks, beach attendees were absolutely stunned over the weekend after a small plane flew a swastika banner over Long Beach Island. Although it could be seen from as far away as Manhattan and even the Jersey shoreline. ProSwastika.org was reportedly written on the banner, and the swastika symbol was depicted intertwined with the Star of David. A group called the International Raelian Movement is claiming responsibility for the stunt, which they say is part of a swastika rehabilitation day, or making the swastika a positive symbol after World War II gave it a new meaning internationally for some strange reason. The Raelian movement is often described as a UFO cult and reportedly believes that humans were created by advanced scientists known as the Elohim. Symbolized by the swastika, they are therefore upset that what has historically been a symbol of peace and infinity now symbolizes war and anti-Semitism. Wow. Well, you know, folks, these poor Raelians, bad enough you belong to a so-called faith that actually makes Scientology look normal, but then you want to revive a logo that is deader than disco and is firmly and forever associated with one of the darkest chapters in human history? Way to pick a battle. I mean, you know, to merge the swastika with the Star of David, that's actually obscene. And the people behind this stunt surely must have known this. Bottom line, if the goal of the Raelians was to turn the vast majority of people against them for pursuing an offensive lost cause, well, guess what, folks? Mission accomplished. And from Blazing Cat Fur, Toronto District School Board Curriculum Guide encourages elementary school boys to, oh no, I don't believe it, yes, be cross-dressers. The following is taken from page 22 of an elementary grade curriculum guide written for the Toronto District School Board by one Lee Hicks, a, quote, trans activist himself, and God have mercy, elementary school teacher as well. This section makes it plain that students are to be encouraged to become cross-dressers. As you read the entire document, you will realize that this is not a curriculum guide, but rather a politicized agenda. Our hope is that Lee Hicks is immediately transferred to Valley Park Middle School, where he and his ilk can compete for space with the Musketeria. By the way, here's a quote from that guide. If we as educators continue to focus children as, quote, girls and boys, it doesn't actually matter how progressive our ideas are, because our practice and the language with which we impart it will remain entrenched in the belief that there are only two genders. And check this out from page 22 of the TDSB's cross-dressing guide for elementary school students. Once the demonstration self-portrait of myself is done, I ask the class members to all take a minute, close their eyes, and think carefully about the outfit that they either have or wish they had to best describe their true self. We will save the sharing of these ideas for the next day, just before watching the video and commencing the self-portrait creating. Folks, I'm not making this up. And Lee Hicks, why does that name ring a bell? Oh yes, this is the same she-male that took her grade 3 class at the Grove Alternative School out of school one day last month to stage a protest downtown against oil pipelines. Naturally, the kids, who I really do feel sorry for, didn't have a clue what they were talking about. These are 8-year-old kids, after all. Meanwhile, the Toronto District School Board, which is infiltrated with radical leftists, is in a deficit position and operates in a fashion that is almost dysfunctional. Doesn't see any problem here whatsoever. You know, what happened to the good old days when elementary kids were taught the basics of math, reading, and writing, as opposed to being groomed as pint-sized political protesters and being indoctrinated with multi-gender mumbo-jumbo? Time now to bring in, once again, Brigitte Pellerin from Ottawa.
Wow.
And Brigitte,
where do I start?
Yeah, where do we start? I mean, maybe, am I being a little too harsh here that maybe at grade 3?
I'm going to start wondering if you didn't do something to that teacher to get them to get to take you. Maybe there's something you gave him when you went to that mission Menzoid a couple of weeks ago. And be careful when you go out there, Menzoid, or try not to catch anything. But okay, let me get this straight. We can't hug in school, but we encourage boys to cross-dress. Right. That makes a lot of sense. That's not going to get them messed up or anything, right? But I do like your idea of sending those cross-dressed boys to the Valley Park Middle School for the mosque service there in the cafeteria. Try those boys to have them cross-dress as menstruating girls and have them sit at the back of the cafeteria and see how they feel. Maybe that would teach them a lesson. I mean, if we're going to mess them up, let's go full blast and let's mess them up real good.
Yeah, you know, for viewers outside of the Toronto area that might not be familiar with Valley Park, Brigitte, as you well know, this is the school that turns the cafeteria into a mosque every Friday and goes against the TDSB's own gender equity rules that both men and women are equal, in that the boys are up front, the girls next, and the menstruating girls, and God only knows who checks for those, are way at the back or even outside the mosque. This does not compute.
No, absolutely not. And I don't think that, again, do they do this on class time? Really? Cross-dressing? What's going on? If you're a parent at one of those schools, I think it's time you stepped in and did something about that.
Thank you so much, Brigitte. And the sad thing is, folks, this isn't a private school. It's a public school, and the parents know what's going on, and they're okay with it. That's the South of Bloor folks in Toronto.